of sleeping dogs and Ezra Pounds. Of sleeping dogs and Ezra Pounds. The bard, the elder, in his mind an old dog on the run, not unlike Ezra Pound, the infamous expatriate poet, an unbecoming outpatient in many different asylums throughout the world. Somehow, someway, but for no apparent reason, decided in a dream to return, to go back to revisit, to see if he could find some of the ones that he had long ago known, and for the most part liked or loved, within the confines of his old hometown. And, as dreams do, the dream seemingly went on and on and on and on. The village idiot was heard to be asking some rather pertinent questions about the bard. It seemed like he was concerned about right and about wrong, and the bard's doing it all for the glory of the story, truth and justice, and for the beauty of the song. What he seemed to be asking about was what he called the greatest good, the greatest love, and what force might be at work behind it all, and the importance of finding out just what it was. For according to him, why else would the bard ever want to write about Charlie Phelps's blood on the castrator's knife? Yeah, it seemed like he was saying that the bard had done it all, for what's right and for what is wrong, the glory of the story, truth and justice, and for the beauty of the song. The obnoxious town drunk was heard to be making some rather crude, obscene remarks about the bard. It seemed like he was impressed by money and accolades, and the bard's doing it all for the God Almighty dollar, the laurel wreath, and the pussies on pretty babes. What he seemed to be swearing about was what he called the greatest good, the greatest love, and what force might be at work behind it all, and the importance of finding out just what it was. For according to him, what else could the bard be hoping to gain from writing shit like the fucking of Lady Jane? Yeah, it seemed like he was saying that the bard had done it all for money and accolades, for the God Almighty dollar, the laurel wreath, and the pussies on pretty babes. The thin, dark-skinned spinster was heard to be telling some rather intimate details about the bard. It seemed like she was recalling a love from the distant past, and the bard's doing it all for a love that once was, a long-lost love, a great, great love that didn't last. What she seemed to be telling about was what she called the greatest good, the greatest love, and what force might be at work behind it all, and the importance of finding out just what it was. For according to her, where else but in his mind could the bard find the picture-perfect seasons of love always time? Yeah, it seemed like she was saying that the bard had done it all for a love back in the past, a love that once was, a long-lost love, a great, great love that didn't last. The pious country pastor was heard to be passing some rather blasphemous judgments about the bard. It seemed like he was comparing the bard to the Antichrist, and the bard's doing it all to be the devil's advocate, to raise some Cain and gain an everlasting life. What he seemed to be preaching about was what he called the greatest good, the greatest love, and what force might be at work behind it all, and the importance of finding out just what it was. For according to him, how else could the bard expect to command a place among the pilgrims in love's promised land? Yeah, it seemed like he was saying that the bard had done it all to be the Antichrist, to be the devil's advocate, to raise some Cain and gain an everlasting life. And as dreams do, the dream seemingly went on and on and on and on. And when he awoke, the bard got up, shook his hair back into place, went in and took a leak, and looked into the mirror at his bloodshot eyes, and he said to himself, "Why can't sleeping dogs just let sleeping dogs lie?" Thus the bard, in his mind not unlike some old dog, does not wish to dream or try to dream, but still he dreams. And it seems the older he gets, the more he dreams. And his dreams are of many fleeting images, mirages of floating, shadowy personages and things, like some soldier fighting with a gun that won't fire in some Civil War battle, or some ghost rider flying in some pilotless plane that also has no engines or wings, or of some sexually aroused young man trying to mate with some woman who keeps moving around and won't lie still, or of some pallbearer prying open some door that leads to some chamber where someone is vying with someone to change the name of somebody's beneficiary on some non-existent will. Just ludicrous, nonsensical dreams without ends, dreams without abilities to reconstruct or remedies to recommend. But often the bard has what can be called a recurring dream, and in the dream he is always one of a pack of prodigal daughters and sons who are lost deep in some wilderness. And they had been born in that wilderness due to their next of kin, the end result and the legacy of their ancestors' original sin. Therefore, they are always torn between carnal knowledge of all of the fruit on the many kinds of forbidden trees
and the promise of a paradise like it once was for Adam and for Eve. Deep in the wilderness, like wolves, dogs, and sheep, they always are, and farther from their father's land they roam, with black and blue and at times bloodshot eyes. Freer than all the rest, with their howls, growls, and bleats, they always are the prodigal ones, standing with great pride alone between hell's gates and back where heaven lies. In the recurring dream, their dilemma continues, seemingly without an end, for it is a matter of just heading farther east to another feast, or turning back towards the west in hopes of becoming forever blessed. In the dream, they are always torn between. Thus, as has been stated, the bard, not William the Great, of course, but Robert Ragnall Campbell, does not wish to dream, but it seems the older he gets, the more he dreams. Too many of the ludicrous, nonsensical dreams, too often the one about being born into and torn between.